everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. But today, for Series Sunday, I've already told you what I'm currently reading, and so today I thought I'd talk about what I'm currently watching. So this is like TV series and things, so yeah, I thought it would be fun to go through like what I've finished, what I'm currently watching, and stuff that I want to watch in the future. Now I will say it's very hot, so I've turned my fan off, but I'm sweating here, so I've got a window open, so there might be a bit of background noise, just so that I don't sweat in a sealed room, which I'm already sweating anyway. So I've got 4 on the finished, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the currently, well technically it's 8, and then 4 on the future, so that tells you what I'm doing at the moment. Alright, so in the finished, the first one that I finished, well, I already did a video about the wrap up of me watching Third Rock from the Sun, and from that I went on a bit of a Kristen Johnston thing of watching stuff that she's done. So in that vein I finished watching The Exes and Mom on Amazon Prime, on Prime Video. So I will admit that some of these were used watching a VPN because I didn't have access to them in the UK, but with the VPN I could see what was available in other countries, including like America and stuff, so that was how I watched quite a few of these actually. So just putting that out there, VPN use was used to watch some of these. But yeah, so I've got The Exes, which was a sitcom which Kristen Johnston starred in I want to say it was like the mid-noughties. I have to check that one. It wasn't the mid-noughties, first episode was 2011, so that was the year after I graduated. I think that show originally aired on TV Land in America, and I'm not completely sure what channel we had it on in the UK, because we don't think we actually had TV Land at that point. But yeah, so basically it was about Holly, who was a divorce lawyer, and she owned the flat opposite her, and that's where she put 3 of her divorce clients, all men, into this apartment, and it was just their adventures and her assistant and stuff. It's such a ridiculous concept for a sitcom, but it was brilliant, hilarious. Kristen Johnston was absolutely brilliant in it, and it was like Donald Faison and Wayne Knight, so she was, you know, Wayne Knight was in Third Rock with Kristen as well, so it was just a nice reunion thing to see those two together again. But yeah, it was just good fun to see them together again, and that was just a great show. The other one that included Kristen as well was the show Mom. Now, this is one that I always used to like catch like random episodes when I did like holidays to America. But yeah, I've been a few times to America, and you know, there are some shows that are just always the ones that are on TV, and Mom was one of them, and I'd always catch random episodes. So I went back to the beginning, watched it all. But yeah, she joins the cast about 3 or 4 seasons from the end. It was like a little bit over halfway that she joined the cast, and then she was there when Anna Faris wasn't in it anymore. If you don't know what the concept of the TV show Mom was, it was a sitcom starring Anna Faris and Alison Janney, where Anna Faris's character was, well, to be fair, both the mom characters had issues with drink, and the shows kind of were dedicated around their AA meetings and their families and their lives and stuff, and it was a really, really funny sitcom which also had a good heart and a good story behind it. And then I also watched Harrow on Disney Plus. It's kind of going down like the murder mystery thing, starring Ioan Gruffudd. It took me forever to figure out how to pronounce his name, but now I know. It's like one of those things that you just remember. Ioan Gruffudd, who is a Welsh actor who's done all manner of film and TV. He was great in a show called Liar in the UK. Was that on the BBC or was it ITV? I would say it was ITV, and it was with Joanne Froggatt, who was in Downton Abbey, and yeah, oh god, the role he played in Liar, I was absolutely terrified of him, It shows you how good he is. But yeah, he plays a pathologist on Harrow, and it's basically like a murder mystery type thing where each episode they're looking at somebody who's died and they're trying to figure out who did it. And then the most recent one that I finished was the TV show Cybill. This was a 90s Chuck Lorre sitcom, and it starred Cybill Shepherd. The main character is Cybill Sheridan, so my brain keeps mixing that up, and it also had Christine Baranski as like the best friend. I feel like this show was ahead of its time because it's absolutely brilliant, and as I said, I literally just finished watching this. There was 4 seasons of it, and it basically looks at Cybill in her 40s as a working actress in Hollywood. And yeah, it just felt like very ahead of its time. It's very on about how actresses in their 40s are treated in Hollywood, and Cybill's like always like the cold open of the show, like before like the opening credits, would usually show Cybill as a working actor, so like a project that she was doing, or an advert, a little bit of behind the scenes or something. I think there were only a couple of episodes where it didn't do that, but yeah, just looking at a show about a woman in her 40s working in Hollywood as an actress and what she's doing to kind of keep that career going. And a lot of it was about her family and her friendship with the Christine Baranski character, who was always going on about Dr. Dick, the ex-husband, who she was just determined to take down. And so it was a great show, ahead of its time in regards to talking about women in their 40s working in Hollywood. I feel like for the 90s it really was ahead of its time. I've said that a few times now. So what I am currently watching, okay, so I am continuing my American Horror Story and Handmaid's Tale watching. Obviously I have done videos before for each season, and I've got a bit of catching up to do on that, so they will come at some point, I promise you. And then I'm continuing to watch Grey's Anatomy and Station 19, the Fire spin-off of Grey's. The last seasons that I watched of those were the COVID years, so like the season that came out just after COVID, when everything was like shut down and everything, and then they started to open up again. So those ones are on kind of like the continuing to watch, as is Raven's Home on Disney Plus. By the way, American Horror Story is on Disney Plus, and so is Grey's Anatomy and Station 19. Handmaid's Tale is on Prime. That one is available to watch in the UK, by the way, but as I said, if you've got a VPN, you can find stuff from all over the place. Raven's Home is on Disney Plus. I was a big fan of That's So Raven when it was on when I was a teenager, 2003, so I was 14 when That's So Raven started. So yeah, that's prime teen years, and when I saw that Raven's Home was a thing, it was just like, oh, I feel like I just need to watch that. See, it stars Raven Simonier, as we now know her name is pronounced after years of just letting people call her Raven Simone. She's admitted that actually it's pronounced Raven Simonier, and I think that's just a beautiful name. And it also stars Annalisa Vanderpool, and they're the best friends from the original show, and it now, in like the present day, it now looks at their children. And I'm actually, the season before the whole setup changed, where Raven takes the son Booker back home to Chicago to live with her father, because I know that happened, but I'm the season before that, so we've still got Booker's twin sister Nia there and everybody else, because I've heard that they take that Annalisa Vanderpool isn't in the new one, and it was just like, really? But the friendship between Raven and Chelsea really is the heart of Raven, so I'm going to miss them when it all changes over. But yeah, so if you're thinking, oh, why is she like in her 30s and she's watching Raven's Home, and it's just like, it's for the nostalgia and also because I was obsessed with That's So Raven when I was a teenager, so it feels right to continue to watch how the story evolves, especially with Raven, because I just think she's brilliant and she's got a beautiful singing voice. And yeah, one that I'm coming to the end of, I mean the final season of Last Man Standing on Disney Plus. This was one that I did actually watch originally when it was first on, and then because they've changed a couple of actors, I think it was, I can't remember what season it was on, but there was the season where it changed networks after it was cancelled, and then it was picked up by another network, and then they changed the actress who was playing Mandy. And I remember watching the season when the change happened, and then I somehow just missed the rest of it, and it's been airing on Comedy Central, I think, in the UK, and every so often I like catch episodes and I'm just like, I just need to watch it all properly. And so I'm on to the last season where they have the time jump for COVID. And yeah, I'm gutted that's coming to an end, because I absolutely love Last Man Standing. I think it's such a good show. And then I'm also coming to the end of Reba, the American sitcom starring country star Reba McEntire, and it's such a good show. I don't want it to end. I have been enjoying so much watching Reba, because the premise of it is just ridiculous, but it works. just on the final season now, but the concept is basically Reba Hart, the main character in the first episode. It's established that her husband Brock left Reba for his dental hygienist, a tall, leggy blonde who was like 22 in the first season, and has gotten her pregnant. And so it looks at the relationships between Reba and her ex-husband and his wife, and the complete craziness that comes from Barbara Jean, who is the dental hygienist, of thinking that she is best friends with Reba even though she was the other woman. It sounds ridiculous, it is ridiculous, but it is just so funny. It is just so funny. It is so good. And the relationships that she has with her kids, and then the fact that also in the first episode you find out that her eldest daughter Cheyenne is 16 and pregnant by her boyfriend, and you see the involvement of that relationship throughout the show, and just, yeah, it's ridiculous, it's hilarious, it's brilliant. If you've never watched Reba before, it is on Prime, and I did need a VPN to watch this because it wasn't available in the UK, but I'm sure there's other places where you might be able to find Reba. But it was such a good show, and I'm obsessed. I've become obsessed, yeah. And then I have just started watching The Good Wife on Channel 4. It used to be All 4, it's now just Channel 4. But yeah, I've just watched the first episode of The Good Wife again, because I watched the first episode years ago and for some bizarre reason could not get into it. But after watching Cybill and looking at the genius that is Christine Baranski, who played Marianne on Cybill the Best Friend, and remembering that she's in The Good Wife, I just thought, let's give The Good Wife a go again. And then I watched the first episode and I was just hooked. I was like, how did I not get into it last time? Maybe I was just in a different place or something and it just wasn't for that time. But yeah, after watching one episode, the first episode of The Good Wife, the pilot, I just thought, I feel like this is the law show that I'd be missing, because I love a good law show. Like, every so often I go off and watch Boston Legal again, because that is probably one of the best shows in the world. Plus, it starred my man, James Spader, which reminds me at some point I need to kind of catch up on Blacklist with my dad, because we used to watch that on a regular basis, and then I think COVID did it where we just kind of stopped watching things. You would have thought that being stuck at home we'd probably watch more, but actually it made us exercise more. We got healthy during lockdown. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying The Good Wife. I know that there was The Good Fight afterwards, which follows Christine Baranski's character, so that's a couple of seasons that I can get into. And technically I have just watched the first episode of Joey, which was the spin-off of Friends, which went for a couple of seasons, because that was one I never finished, and so I just thought I'll just rewatch Joey so I can watch the end of it, and because I kind of remember it's been years since I watched Joey, so I thought I'll just rewatch it and catch up and find out how that ended. In another vein of watching stuff that I never finished, 2.5 Men. By the way, Joey, 2.5 Men, Prime, VPN, just saying that. And yeah, so with 2.5 Men, I never really watched it after Charlie Sheen left. So I thought it would be nice to go back and watch the Charlie Sheenless episodes and find out how that finished, because I haven't a clue. Another one which is technically one to finish, because I only watched a couple of episodes, Only Murders in the Building. I originally watched a couple of episodes with my mum and dad, but with my parents being retired and me working, they continued to watch it while I was at work, so it just came to a point where we just weren't watching it together anymore. And so I managed to, I've only watched a couple of episodes of season 1, but what I have seen, I absolutely love. So I need to go back to the beginning and watch it and binge it properly, especially because the new season's coming out soon, I believe. So yeah. And that one's on Disney Plus, by the way. After that, we've got Baby Daddy. This is another one where I watched one episode and thought I wasn't going to get into it, and so I just stopped. I have a feeling I might actually enjoy Baby Daddy now. So again, that one's on Disney Plus as well. But yeah, and that one's just a sitcom. I think in the first episode, one of the guys has a baby dropped off at his front door of his flat from a mother who just doesn't want the child anymore, and so it's on the dad to bring the child up, and then the family and the friends around them. Yeah. The last one I've got on here of stuff that I want to watch. This was a show that I missed the first time it was on, but I've heard really, really good things about it. I think it might have only had 1 season or 2 seasons, I'm not sure. I think it's probably only had 1, and that was the show Ringer, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar, where she played twins. And again, it's got Ewan Griffith in it, who was in Harrow. I really enjoyed watching Ioan Gruffudd, because I just think he's a really good actor, and the things that I have seen him in, he's absolutely brilliant in. So I'm just giving more Ioan Gruffudd stuff a go, and also the fact that I heard really good things about Ringer as well, even though it was only on for like a season. And yeah, so that's one that I'm gonna give a go. Again, Prime VPN. Yeah, so that's a few of the things that I have finished watching, currently watching, and plan to watch in the future. Was this interesting to see kind of my taste in like TV shows? As you can see, it's got a bit of a mix in there. So you've got like 3 murder mysteries in there, quite a few sitcoms, and a little bit of horror in regards to like American Horror Story and Handmaid's Tale. But yeah, I'm on a thing of just like, I like watching sitcoms. I like watching older sitcoms as well, because I think it's just nice just when you get in just to watch something funny. And a lot of the time you find yourself just rewatching the same ones, like Friends and Will and Grace, because they're on all the time. So I thought, I'm going to go and find the ones that you remember, but the ones that aren't repeated all the time. So yeah, that's what my plan is. I know that Netflix has quite a lot of like Netflix made sitcoms and things, so that'll be nice to kind of go through and have a look at that. Maybe that's helped you to get to know me a little bit in regards to the things that I like watching and binge watching. As I said, I'm currently just watching the final season of Reba, and there's only like 13 episodes. I'm about 5 episodes into the final season, and I don't want it to end. But I think Reba McEntire did actually do another sitcom that only had 1 season. Was it like Malibu Country or something? So that might be on my future watching as well. Malibu Country with Reba McEntire. And there's also one that I know that she happens to be in the last season of, but the concept of it sounds quite interesting, which is Blue Sky? Big Sky. That's what was throwing me off. It's not Blue Sky. Big Sky, which sounds interesting. That's a David E. Kelly crime drama thriller. And also, Dee Dee Pfeiffer's in Big Sky, who was on Cybill. It's just like everything seems to come back around again. But yeah, so that's another one that I think I might give a go, Big Sky. Just the premise of that one sounds interesting. A pair of investigators who team up to work on multiple cases in Montana. And it was always based on a book series. Might have to check that out. Yeah, so that's what I have finished watching, currently watching, and what I plan to watch in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe, everybody. Bye!